Perfect. What is up, everybody? And welcome back to Zachary Reality. It is Zachary Reality. We are here with Bismah, who was most recently eliminated from the Anonymous. Bismah, what happened?
Oh my God, there are too many haters in this domain. That's what happens, Zachary.
Mm,
I tried to play the game, but the game gamed me. It's okay.
yeah.
But I went in there really confident, and I think just the dynamics kept changing. But it was a fun experience. I had so much fun.
Yeah, it was clear that you had a good time, but I want to take it back. Now, you came into this game as a political lobbyist, you're a beauty queen, and you really hid that from the rest of the house. Tell us a little
Yeah.
bit about what you do and kind of how you ended up on this show.
It's so funny. So, what I do is being a political lobbyist, I essentially interact with politicians to pass laws. And so the process of that is actually really complex, right? You come up with the bill idea, you have to get it through the House of Delegates, the Senate, Congress. And then, if it's a state law, which I do a lot of state work, the governor has to sign it, right? So for me, what I do for work is count votes essentially, right? So I need to go into the office and persuade them, hey, this is the best bill you've ever heard of. This is what you really need to vote for. And so I really tried to take that experience coming in to the show without anybody knowing, right? So I think when people think of politics, it's not a good connotation, right? Nobody trusts politicians just in general, right? And so I did not want anybody to have a reason to get me out, right? And when you saw Xavier and when you saw Marcel, I mean, I was targeting them because I knew what they had done in the past. So I didn't want that target on my back.
For sure. Now, how did you get on the show to begin with? Did you apply? Did, casting reach out? And, what did you think about this show that no one's ever heard of before, The Anonymous?
So casting reached out and I essentially I didn't know if it was spam or not. I was kind of
Mhm.
like, okay, well, this is interesting. So then I did the Zoom interview and I kind of went through that process, but they really liked the political experience that I had and that strategy that goes into it. I mean, it's a really tough field. I mean, I don't even know what the percentage is, but it's like a point percentage that
Mm,
people even get into this profession because it's all networking, right?
yeah.
And so they reached out to me and I was like, this is a really cool concept. It's really mixing Traders and Circle. And I love both those shows.
hmm
So I was like, very excited to be a part of this.
Yeah. And going into the show, you obviously were a late arrival with two other people. And that's got to be frustrating. I think it's even frustrating for viewers because we're like, okay, we're getting down to it. Now we have new people. You can only imagine how the competitors felt. Did you know you were going to be a late arrival? And how did you kind of feel about that? And especially, how did you feel about it in the game, in the grand scheme of things?
Yeah, I had no idea I was going to be a late arrival. Okay, so I had to come in there and just put on my game face and try to get all the tea I could get without seeming like I was, thinking too much about it or making a clear alliance with the new people, right? So I think all of us kind of spread out. Victoria did her own thing, I did my own thing, and that ultimately became a division that I didn't think was going to happen, but it was tough. It was tough being a new person because at the end of the day, and Marcel told me himself, we were all trying to get the new people out
Mhm.
essentially from day one. So my strategy is to come and make my own division, which was why are we eliminating only women?
hmm Yeah, and you got pretty far. I mean, you made it farther than, another new person, but Victoria's still in there and she's kind of killing it. I feel like a lot of the game is luck. There is obviously relationships that go into it. What do you think the percentage is of kind of luck, strategy, and just like the friendships you have in the house?
You know what? It's everything, right? Because look at Lily. Lily, for some reason, everybody just hated on Lily so much, right? But she's making it far in the game. I mean,
Mhm.
she's still in the game. That is so impressive. I will say though, like for example, Victoria getting with Chris, that was so strategic because she aligned herself with an OG person,
Mhm.
right? So that was very strategic on her end. But I do think there is an amount of luck. For example, if I had chosen the right box, I would have still have been in the game, right?
Mhm.
Because nobody nominated me, uh, that time. So it was that was bad luck. And I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie, I was not expecting to be out.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably so frustrating. Is the game frustrating for
Yeah.
you looking back at it? Is there things you would want to change for future seasons?
Oh my God, 100%. I think Let's do less face-offs. Okay, Marcel is like the king of the face-off, but
Mhm.
people just that's a hard game. I really enjoyed the challenges. I also feel like we should get more handle changes. I would
Ooh.
have been so happy if I could have changed in the middle because I didn't get the opportunity to have a second handle change, right? So like my first go, I was kind of stuck with that. And
Mhm.
so that didn't work out great for me. But there are so many things that I would have done differently looking back on it. My strategy of kind of taking in the information and not giving as much didn't work out as well as I thought. But I came in and immediately on my first day, Dylan is going off on Chris, and I'm like, all right, clearly there's somebody talking here, and I don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah. The handle changes at first, I was like, this is so annoying because, like, because it's like now we have to start all over again, like, who's who. But now they're changing it so often that I'm like, does it become that obvious? Because I saw a lot of people guess Nina in the last episode as Wolf. And I'm like, that kind of made sense right off the bat.
Oh, 100%. I was actually surprised she went with Wolf. Um, yeah, I don't know. I do think though that we got to a point where people just knew each other's handles,
Hmm.
right? So like I felt like there were only a couple people that people were kind of unsure about. Nina, Victoria, Jack, Lily.
Hmm.
But like outside of that,
Yeah, but isn't
no. And you saw
there,
me ask Chris, like, are you lipstick? I know you're lipstick.
but isn't there also the strategy of not doing anything in the group chat, just like staying silent every single time?
You know who did that? Wayne did that. He didn't say a word. And I don't know, I guess that didn't work out in his benefit, but I really feel like that is a strategy that could work.
Yeah. Rapid fire, I
Yeah.
want to know your thoughts on your cast members and kind of like who you think's gonna win this whole thing. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on Jack? I mean, he was the front runner. A lot of people thought he was gonna
Yeah.
win. What did you think about his exit?
Oh my gosh. Jack's exit was so emotional. I definitely cried during his exit because I was, it hit home. This is a game at the end of the day. Like, you don't really know what's going to happen. You might think, hey, I've got it in the bag, but like, you don't know. And I knew from the bat when I came into the house, Jack is way smarter than he puts off. Like,
Hmm.
and I would tell him, hey, play dumb a little bit because I knew he was pulling some strings when I got in there. And that's
Yeah.
why I aligned myself with him. That's why I gave him the safety. That was all strategic.
What about Andy?
Yeah.
He's a big character this season. He's playing to win. He's still left in there. What do you think about him?
I love Andy. I seriously love Andy. He's one of my favorite people. I really feel like Andy is flying under the radar. Nobody is coming after him. And they came after him. Well, not they. Jack came after him in the beginning. And I know, that got to him. It would for me too. But
Mhm.
Andy was a really good support system for me in the game. And I feel like, especially with, that first day that everybody came at me during that challenge, he really just gave me the best pep talk. And
Mhm.
I really appreciated Andy for that. And that's where we kind of got close. But he's flying under the radar. Andy
Yeah.
is playing it smart. He's
Hmm.
doing well.
Are Victoria and Chris gonna last after the show?
Oh,
Valid question.
you know how these things go. At the end of the day, this is a competition show. I just don't know if the showmance translates into real world romance, if I'm being honest, because I mean
Hmm.
you are kind of in a simulation, you're in a alternate reality. And honestly, it's so easy to trauma bond in a
Hmm.
situation like that because we're all very stressed. We need some like comfort, we need some love. But in the real world, I don't know. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
honest.
Who do you want to see win the game?
I want Marcel to win the game. As much as
Ooh.
I came at him, Marcel, I think he really and he says it himself. He doesn't give a good first impression. And I really thought that was like, oh, he just doesn't like me. He doesn't want to connect with me. He doesn't want to talk to me. And I think that's why I came at him so hard because I was like, I have no idea what you're thinking.
Hmm.
But now that we kind of get to know him more, especially in the show, now off the show, like I love him. I want him to win. I think he deserves it, especially since I feel like he's the underdog.
Hmm.
Everybody he's always been in an elimination. And then,
Yeah.
That one time he was safe was so iconic. I'm really rooting for him.
There's a lot of good contenders, so I can't wait to see what happens. I think I'm actually pulling for Lily at this point because she's really had her back up against the wall for so long and she's still there. So excited to see what happens. Thank you so much for coming on and chatting. Where can everybody find you and follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram at Bismah Ahmed, Bismahahmed.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Chat soon.
Thank
Bye.
you. Talk to you soon.